1997, and it's a partnership between Baruch High School and Baruch College. It's a Department of Education public school. We're very proud of our history as a school, both serving kids across the city and getting them from middle school youngsters to college going young adults. Our vision and philosophy, we believe on really developing independent learners. Our school doesn't have a specific focus. We're not an art school, nor are we a STEM school, but we're really what we say is a liberal arts school, meaning that our students get a chance to learn about math, science, English, social studies equally, and really explore their interests and passions. And we really do this really wanting our students to take on a higher level of thinking, critical thinking, supporting our students and really finding the independence as learners and finding their passion. And also we have a focus in social action and service as well. Next slide, please. The way we focus our curriculum is we anchor our values in our 4 core values, as you see. So the first one is rigor, and that term we often hear, rigor, it's used a lot. No school's not going to say that they're unrigorous. For us, when we say rigor, we're really talking about minds-on learning. How are students being asked to think critically? How are they asking questions? When you're in a math classroom, for example, you're not just solving the equation, but you're applying it to other concepts. You're thinking about what it means or what we could do, using math to solve real-world problems. All of those ways are examples of rigor. For community, we really focus a lot on building community. You're going to hear about our advisory program later on. So we have an advisory program at our school, and we focus a lot on building community, not just through that program, but also through the way we design our classrooms and the feel in our building. We greet students at the door with a smile. We play music. We welcome them. We have events in the gym right off the entryway where students can participate. For example, for Hispanic Heritage Month, there was a pop-up event and students could go and decorate different posters about countries that they knew about in the Hispanic culture. We have community building trips. The classes focus on group work and collaborative teamwork to build community. Because if we want our students to think rigorously and critically, we need to have a sense of connection to feel safe to take those intellectual risks. I mentioned real-world connections a little bit in my definition of rigor. Real-world connections, we really do want to focus our learning. We are a Regents school, so our students do take all of the Regents exams for a diploma of that sort in our high school. But we want the learning to go beyond just preparing for a test. So we do a lot of real-world connections where students are asked to apply their learning to events happening in the world today, to things in their lives. One example I like to give is how we focus our English curriculum. In our English curriculum, we talk about how do we look at literature and the things that we study as windows, mirrors, and sliding doors, meaning that there is a mirror of ourselves, so we can see ourselves reflected in the books that we read. So having diverse representation of different titles and authors. There are windows to learn about others that are different than ourselves. And then the sliding doors where we go in and we empathize and connect and try to understand different identities, time periods, cultures. So a blend of the classics and modern. We really want our students to have those connections. And lastly, global citizenship. We look at New York City as it's a world itself, and we're preparing our students not just for college, but for entering the 21st century workplace, in which understanding and knowing how to work with many different people, knowing how different societies work and function is a critical skill. So we look at different ways that we can learn about other societies, also work together. We have a lot of clubs that support this, and you're going to hear more about that throughout. So these are the things that anchor our school, and I wanted to give you that frame. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into looking at what are some things going on at Baruch High School this year right now. And at this point, you're going to hear from our guidance counselor, who's going to introduce our student presenters today. So we're going to go to the next slide, and Ms. Ogletree, please take it from here.
All right, thank you. So I'm pleased to pass the mic over to our awesome students who are helping us out today. You guys are very fortunate. You're hearing from an awesome handful of some of our seniors who are just over the hump of early college admissions and have enough energy left to volunteer for us this evening. So these next few slides, I'll pass the mic over to them, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves at the start of each slide. because who better to hear from what's happening at Baruch lately than the students themselves. So the next slide, if I'm correct, Miss Lila, if you will turn on your mic and your camera, introduce yourself, and review this slide for us.
Hi, I'm Lila Ferber. I am a current senior at Baruch. I've been here for 4 years and I am captain of the volleyball team, and I'm also on the varsity softball team. So this is kind of going to be an intro to what's going on at our school and like go more in depth to some of our classes, APs, the college rep visits we have, and our athletics clubs and other events. So I think I got everything there. Right.
Great. And you'll have an opportunity to jump in more later, and you're going to talk more about athletics, but these are just some great photos checking out like student events, things that are happening this fall. Just to echo what Miss Perez is saying, community is really a big part of who we are and what's really important to us. And I think that's really evident in these photos. Our next slide, actually, Miss Epstein, I think that you will do this slide for us.
Yeah, so one of the many roles that having as a guidance counselor, we wear a lot of many hats, one of which is, for me specifically, the Student Affairs Committee. So this is our fall festival that is happening next week and is being hosted by our Baruch Events Committee, also known as the Beckies. It's one of the largest clubs and one of the newest clubs at Baruch. And basically, it is just building community through a ton of fun events. So they help plan our field day. They do like a snowball social in the winter. And so we are hosting our fall festival, and we try to encourage community by making it a competition for the advisory. So however many students can be there, their advisory will get a party, and it's live dancing, DJ, activities, games, and it's for everyone. It's not just for students, it's for families. So this is one of the many events that we have, and constantly planning fun events throughout the year, no matter the scale or size. So the next slide. So we have our students of the month. So I'm going to pass it back to Ms. Ogletree.
We promised you'd hear from students. Now you're hearing from us. I promise I'm passing it back to the students after this slide. This is something new that we've just rolled out. I'm really trying to honor and recognize our students and success in the classroom in various ways. We think success goes beyond just, high scores. There's a lot about like the effort that's going on in the classroom, passion for subject matter, growth, improving over a course of time, and character shown in the classroom, of course. So this is again something new that we're rolling out, also with making kind of this long-term investment in our students. So by the time they're seniors, like our students here tonight, and they're filling out their college applications, they will have ample things to put into their honors section, academic awards and recognition that they've received over 4 years. So we kicked this off by looking at our Spanish program. So these are all our students who were given awards for their performance in our Spanish department. So we will continue this throughout and really just making this being a visible public part of our school culture. Our next slide, Lucas, will you do me a favor and turn on your mic and camera and jump into what's going on with fall athletics for us?
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lucas. I'm a senior, and I'll get into more depth about our athletics later. But right now, fall sports are coming towards an end. We have girls soccer, boys soccer, and girls volleyball. The boys soccer and girls volleyball teams are actually in the playoffs right now. And I'll get into more of it later, but sports are a great way to make friends at Baruch, and our teams are surprisingly very strong for a small school. I've been on the baseball team all 4 years, so these 3 teams, that's what's going on now, and I'll get into some more of it later.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. And for our next slide, Miss Gwynnie Cook, will you jump on here and talk about field trips going on this fall?
Yeah, so we have a lot of field trips here at Baruch. Some of the most memorable ones are the underclassmen go to Chelsea Piers. It's community building. There's Dave and Buster trips for the advisories. One year I went to the Union Square Holiday Market with my advisory. That was really fun. The seniors go to Six Flags at the end of the year for kind of like senior end of year trip. during junior year, I was lucky enough to go to a ski trip at Catamount Mountain. That was really, really fun with my friends. And we also have a trip to Spotify. That one's really amazing that our gym teacher, Coach Schaefer, her brother works there. So the Baruch talk and media teams were able to go there. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Gwynnie. And I think at this point, passing it over to Mr. Kaiser.
Hello again, folks. Just coming back on to talk to you a little bit more about academics at Baruch. So if you could switch to the next slide. So talking about our ninth grade, it's a big transition year. Students are coming in and they're ready for high school, but they're just out the door of middle school, and a lot of skills need to be developed. What does it mean to be a high schooler? What are those professional and academic skills, independent learning skills that need to develop? That kind of gets built into our culture in ninth grade and how we're preparing students for a successful 4 years. We do this through our seminar course and through our senior mentors in advisory, which is a great program. Our advisory classes are mixed grades. They're grades 9 through 12. So right from the get-go, freshmen are in class with seniors who can provide that role model and help them develop who they need to be academically and personally and professionally over the next 4 years. We also have a lot of community building field trips. The showcase one this year is at Chelsea Piers. It's actually taking place on Monday, where students are in mixed groups, maybe not necessarily with students that they travel with from class to class during the day, but it gives them a chance to make new connections and to take part in team building and collaborative activities and to strengthen bonds that may have already been made, but also build new bonds. As our students are coming, I think, really from all 5 boroughs and many, many different middle schools. So ninth graders, it's a time for them to make new friends, and our community building trip in the fall is a great way for those new bonds to be formed. Another thing I want to talk about is the Elevate partnership. They actually come in and they work within our seminar course and our seminar teachers. And again, that's to develop the students into those and professional and independent learning skills that they need for high school and ultimately to prepare them for university. Can we go to the next slide, please? So just an overview of academics at Baruch College Campus High School. Students do take 4 years of math, science, English, and history. We do have advanced placement courses starting in grade 10 and continuing through grade 11 and 12. Students take a year and a half of visual art in ninth grade, a half year and 10th, a full year in art. Our advisory program, like I said, mentioned just a little bit in the last slide, is a 4-year program. Students will be with the same advisor for all 4 years, and it's a mixed grade group. So right now, the ninth graders are with 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, and as the 12th graders graduate this year, next year, this year's ninth graders will be with the same 10, 11, the 12th graders, but they'll have the new ninth graders coming in. So it kind of like builds this continuous community. The 10th graders graduate, and the new ninth graders come into an already existing group that has their traditions and has their culture, and they really do a great job of, building Baruchians, so to speak, out of our new ninth graders. So that's a program that we really love and cherish. Spanish is our foreign language, the one foreign language class that we teach at Baruch. We teach Spanish 1, 2, and 3, and we have AP Spanish available in grade 12. Of course, it's physical education all 4 years. We satisfy our health education state requirement in grade 9. Seminar takes place in grades 9 and 10. And then we have real electives in grades 11 and 12. Students get to list preferences. We'll have a menu of elective options out there. Students will list their preferences, and then we do our best to give students their first or second choice. In some cases, they get, but in most cases, students get their first or second choice. Can we move to the next slide, please? Here's vertically by subject area. what you would expect over the 4 years progression in the 4 core classes. So in English, ninth grade, global literature, 10th grade, global literature, and then 11th grade, we either have 11th grade Regents English or AP Language, 12th grade English or AP Literature. And you can see sort of down the line in math, history, and science, how it's generally taking place. It's pretty traditional progression of courses in the 4 main subject areas. We can move to the next slide. We are proud to offer quite a bit of AP courses, starting with AP Sciences in the 10th grade with environmental science. We do offer AP Literature and AP Language and Composition in our upper grades, 11th and 12th grade English. 11th grade has AP United States History, 12th grade has AP Government, and in mathematics we do offer AP Statistics, and we also offer AP Calculus AB. And in sciences, I said earlier, we offer AP Environmental Science in grade 10, and we also offer AP Physics in grade 12. PSAT is given in 10th grade. SAT is given in 11th grade. We can move to the next slide. Special education and English language learner support. Pardon me, I just gotta switch rooms. One moment, please. Get a little view of my house. Sorry about that. Okay. So if you can hopefully you can still hear me. Special education and English language learner support at our school is something that's well developed and that we're proud of. We do have a robust ICT program, meaning integrated co-teaching model in grades 9 through 12. We also have SET services and the typical related service options at Baruch College Campus High School. And something that we're proud of is that our special education teachers are also content specialists, meaning we have in English class, you have a special ed English teacher. In math class, you have a special ed math class. So that's something we're quite proud of. Can we move to the next slide, please? So something that we are very proud of is our Minds on Learning at Baruch College Campus High School. It's something that we just really try to make learning relevant for all students. We try to make critical thinking and content matter just very, very exciting and relevant. And we try to make sure that there's real world application for the learning that's taking place in the classroom. And that's why you see some pictures here of students outside with trees or project-based learning and collaborative learning among students. And can we go to the next slide? Oh, and the arts. The arts at Baruch College Campus High School is something that we're proud of. New York State requires 1 year of arts, but we're happy to be able to offer it a year and a half. So students take a half year of art in grade 9, and then a full year of art in grade 10. Miss Valerie Levitch, seen here, is a fabulous art teacher. And she really provides a very great ambiance in the classroom, teaching the students all this many skills about visual arts, scaffolding her instruction in grade 9, preparing them for more advanced arts in grade 10. And it's just a real great addition, and students are quite fond of our art program here at Baruch College Campus High School. Next slide. And then advisory. Our advisory program, I talked a bit about it before. I see Ms. Epstein is on the video. Am I passing it to you now?
Yep, I'm going to take over for advisory, and I'm going to have one of our student ambassadors also speak about it. So advisory has always been the core of our programming and has always been looked at as a home for for the Baruch family. So every single student has an advisory. It is mixed grade levels. Next slide. It is mixed grade levels, and every single day they are doing a different activity. So Monday will usually be announcements. That way students know what's going on for the week. That could be anything from playoff games to college rep visits to events going on to just anything you can think of under the sun. And students like to actually make the announcements for the week. They get really excited decorating them. Tuesday, they'll do a mindfulness moment. Our school social worker will come up with an activity, whether it's like coloring mandalas, doing meditation, just to get calmness. Wednesday, they'll do a fun joke, a puzzle, and students will work together to figure out the puzzle. So they did once how many animals are in this picture that you can find. There was about like 26 animals. Thursdays are conferring days. So that is for senior mentors, which Maha will speak about a little bit after, but it also involves the advisor conferring with students that may be of concern with their academics or just acclimating to school, or just a simple check-in being like, hey, how are you? And then lastly, Friday, we like to end the week off with a community building activity. So just this last week, we did a Halloween door decorating competition, and all the advisories went around and rated the doors that looked the prettiest, the spookiest for Halloween. And it was really cute to see how involved everyone got, and everyone's really excited and passionate about it. Advisories also where official attendance is taken for the day, and that the teachers do. But usually advisory is very student driven, which makes it so special. Next slide. And then I'm going to pass it over to Maha. She is one of our senior mentor leads, and she's going to talk more about the senior mentor leadership program.
Hi everyone, I'm Maha. I'm a senior at Baruch, and like Miss Epstein touched on, I'm a senior mentor lead. So what that means is I lead the freshmen, or sort of assign seniors to each freshman. And there's only one lead in each section, and we meet monthly with Miss Epstein and other leads to, discuss what's going on, what's been working for us, what needs to be changed. And we really like to plan activities for the freshmen. So just recently we did Jeopardy. It was trivia about Baruch, and it was really nice, meeting with people more in a more casual environment where we were playing a game. And upcoming events, we're doing Thanksgiving cards for November. Am I missing anything?
And also every single freshman is assigned a senior mentor that is in their advisory section. So they are seeing these seniors every single day. So it allows for relationship building. It's not like they're randomly just meeting each other. It is intentional. They are going to see these people every single day for their first year, and it helps to build a relationship with that senior rather than being intimidated. We embrace our freshmen and want them to feel welcome, and our seniors are very passionate about it.
All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and cover these next few slides regarding college and career readiness. As I was saying before, the timing is perfect for this. We just got through the early admissions wave, so I can speak directly to all the support that is built into the Baruch guidance program. Let's see the next slide. All right. So seniors, if you feel so inclined at any time, you're really living and breathing this right now. It's just a quick snapshot of the many institutions that our Baruch students, our graduates have ended up going to. I think a lot of these schools are jumping out. Our seniors right now, schools that they've applied to and very hopeful for. I hope you notice the wide range of institutions: CUNYs, SUNYs, HBCUs, Ivy Leagues, large public institutions, a diversity of geography. We have, Pennsylvania, New York, the Midwest. Baruch students really go everywhere. And something I'm even not seeing here is representation of international programs where we've had students take their college education abroad. So I can just speak personally as a college counselor. It's been so exciting to do this work with Baruch students who've been very successful and everyone's journey has been incredibly unique. Just some additional support that is built into our program here at Baruch. We spoke earlier about our course offerings with advanced placement. In addition to that, we do have a CUNY College Now partnership. So if a student isn't able to take an AP class at Baruch, they are able to take advantage of taking college coursework, earning college credits through the College Now program. I'm sure there are some students here on this call right now who have taken advantage of this. I know students who've taken anthropology, psychology, personal finance, critical health issues. Lila, I think that was you. So certainly ample opportunity to expand their learning outside of Baruch. We do offer SAT and ACT prep. We have a partnership with Revolution Prep. So students who are eligible for that, they are able to take advantage through that partnership. AP courses, which we spoke about. I feel, Ms. Perez said before, like the word rigor, that's a very popular word in education now. And I feel like I'm just like saying that word in my sleep, typing it over and over again in rec letters, just really underscoring that rigor is inherent at Baruch College Campus High School. Advisory is something that Ms. Epstein just touched upon in terms of writing skills. Our students are really trained in writing at college level writing skills. And everyone, this is another thing that's been a hot topic lately. We really like to start and keep our students on an advanced Regents diploma track. Our students are over-credited in science and math, and we're proud of that we don't cut them off at the required 6 credits of math or science, that we really push them to go above and beyond for themselves, for meeting advanced diploma requirements. We see students who are gaining advanced Regents diploma with honors, mastery in math, mastery in science. So really keeping students on that advanced track and showcasing it in their college applications. Next slide. This is something, that was definitely dormant with COVID, but we're really excited to bring this back, of college visitation. So, these are some photos of going to visit colleges, but I can also really speak to the fact, which has been huge going on this fall, or colleges coming to us. So looking forward to getting students back out there to visit colleges. But something that is just like really exceptional about Baruch that I noticed immediately when I started working here is how many colleges are knocking down our door to come meet with our kids. So everything from University of Michigan, Skidmore, SUNY's, CUNY's, University of Maryland, Northeastern, Penn State, which is again a wide variety of schools that are interested to come meet our students and educate them on their programs. So that's really great. Career Day is another thing that we do in terms of college and career readiness. Ms. Epstein could even speak more on that. I know she's been part of a team who's really done an excellent job putting that together.
Yeah, so we do a career day in March every single year, and we get professionals from all different fields through personal connections, through connections of other colleagues, and it's really awesome day. Kids get to walk around and go to different tables. They'll usually bring swag for our students and their business cards. That way students can reach out for volunteer job shadowing opportunities. So it's a really great way to see the different careers that many of our alumni and parents do. I know Lucas Roberts, one of our seniors, his mom came to Career Day. So people love to come and give back. And it's just a very fun day for students and staff and the volunteers also. I don't know if any students want to speak on their experience attending Career Day from their perspective.
Sure, yeah. So Career Day was lots of fun. And like Ms. Epstein said, my mom was there and she might have had more fun than anybody else. She loved it, but I had a great time too. There were a lot of different jobs represented, a lot of jobs that I didn't even consider, going into. And there are a lot of interesting jobs. I was talking to some of the parents or, teachers, friends, or whoever came to show their career. And I had great conversations with them. Tried to stay connected with a couple, and especially, I'm going to college next year. It was definitely a great opportunity just to see a couple jobs that maybe I'll be interested in going into in my future.
Udesha is also another one of our student representatives.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I attended the career day for the first time. We didn't have any such concept in India. I came to Baruch last year, and I was quite fascinated by this concept because career exploration is one of the common criticisms that we hear at schools, that we are taught academics, we're taught about extracurriculars, but we are not exactly taught how we can get into specific careers of our liking. So getting to see people who are professionals in certain areas, certain fields, it was quite an interesting experience. I got to see many people involved in media, in law, in architecture, in civil services, in security. So it wasn't just one specific field. It was really varied, and depending on what you like, you could interact with any person of your picking, any person whose career you might be interested. Yeah.
Another career program we have is the Pencil program. So we partner with Out From Media. So if you're ever on transit, on the subway, buses, any of their advertisements, they most likely place the media there. And our kids get to go on a field trip at the end of the year. And it's one of the ways that they're able to connect with real world professionals about their careers. And again, in all different areas, from law to business to media. So that's another highlight of our career exploration. Next slide. Okay, so extracurricular life at Baruch. So I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Kaiser.
I'm going to have some expert help from our student ambassadors with these slides. Just wanted to circle back just on a couple of things with the academic slides before. Our math program is really honors students' abilities. So students who do really well in 8th grade math, maybe they take Algebra 1 and pass the Regents in 8th grade in Algebra 1, they would start our school in geometry as a 9th grader. So often we typically have in 9th grade, about half the grade taking Algebra 1 and the other half the grade taking geometry. And then they would just sort of progress up the line based where they started. Algebra 1, geometry, trigonometry, pre-calculus, calculus, and then with the chance to take AP Calculus as a 12th grader at our school. And we're also very proud to have a advanced college calculus class at the college that students can qualify for. This is a standalone college class where students earn both high school and university credit. They leave our school twice a week and they walk over to Baruch College and they take a real college calculus class. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out. And I wanted to add on a little bit about our arts program. Though the core of our arts program is the visual arts classes in grade 9, half year, and 10th grade full year. I am proud to say that we do have quite a few electives to also support the arts. So for example, in 10th grade, we have a music appreciation class. And I believe in 11th and 12th grade, we have a screenwriting class. And we add more electives from time to time that also support arts and other types of arts. We also have a lot of partnerships with art organizations. Last year, students took part in a spoken word competition and monologue competition, going to competing against students within our school and then within other schools, and then ultimately finalists competing at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. And monologues. So we do try to supplement the arts more with elective classes and outside organizations and partnerships, and with a drama club, for example, that puts about performances a year. So I just want to put that out there. And now talking about extracurricular life, if we the next slide, and I'm going to talk about more athletics, and I think it's again, Mr. Rock. Yeah.
So
Okay.
sports.
Thank you.
Like I said before, I'm on the varsity baseball team. I've been on the baseball team for 4 years, and I was on the junior varsity basketball team for a year as a sophomore. Just want to attest to the fact that it's really such a welcoming community. When I joined the baseball team as a freshman, still in the midst of COVID, I didn't know anybody in my grade, let alone the whole entire school. But the baseball team really welcomed me, and I made great friends, some of which are graduated and I still keep in close touch with a lot of them. And now, as I'm a senior, kids in younger grades I've gotten close with. And not only is it a great community, we're pretty good. The baseball team in 2022, we won the New York City Championship. And this past season, we made the semifinals. And then when I was a freshman, there was no playoffs because of COVID, but we were actually undefeated that season. So I did mention before, such a small school, we are good at sports. And along with that, for many of the teams, for most of them, I would say, they're not super competitive. So if you have, I would say, any prior experience with any of these sports, there's a very, very high chance that you're going to make the team, even if you don't. So you're going to have the opportunity to play any sport that you want. And the sport team is probably going to be good as well. So it's one of my favorite parts about the school. Yeah, sports.
You, are you like to athletics?
All right, it seems like Mr. Kaiser, you're losing your signal. So, yeah. Liz, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, there's more on athletics. Is there anything else on athletics, or should we move on? Okay, let's keep, Lila, I think you were going to talk a little bit about athletics as well.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I am captain of the volleyball team. So normally for most sports now, 5 days of tryouts are required prior. And then normally the only junior varsity sport we have is the boys basketball team. Everything else is a varsity sport. So if your student is looking to be on one of those teams, it is a good commitment. You know, you have practice every day, games, you're going to be traveling. But like Lucas, I have been on volleyball since freshman year. So that was when it was COVID, and it allowed me to meet a lot of people, some who I may not met, you know, in mixed grades. And I think that sports was a really great experience, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to play on a competitive sport. So, yeah.
I just wanted to add again, as Lila said, it is going to be a fairly heavy commitment, but especially in my junior year season of baseball, that spring is kind of like, the heavy hitter season about academics. All my AP tests were around that time. I was taking the SAT. Their courses were towards the end, so there were some finals and stuff like that. So balancing that with practicing and having games maybe 4 times a week was difficult at times, but the teachers and coaches alike, they understand everything. I had to miss a practice here or there if I had a big assignment or a test the next day, and it was not a problem at all. And this goes for the whole entire Baruch community, but all of the teachers and coaches, they're all really understanding of everything that's going on. So that's a really important factor as well.
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to mention one other thing. Along with, say you don't want to play a sport, but you do want to be a part of it, you can manage. So I'll let Gwynnie speak about that because she has managed a few different sports.
Yeah, so I have never really been into playing the sports, but I love watching them. So I'm the manager of the softball team and the current volleyball team. And usually I have to take the defibrillator to and from the games. I do the scoreboard and score sheets, and it's really just a fun time to get into the community without getting into the sports part of it. But it's a good time.
Awesome, thank you. And the practices we do have both after school, and we do have some before school as well. I think it's just the JV basketball that meet practices in the morning. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, so now to talk about, we have got so many clubs at Baruch. Baruch's clubs are predominantly student driven and student run. And then we have some clubs that are also the core of Baruch. So I believe Maha's going to talk a little bit about her involvement in clubs at Baruch because we have so many. So Maha, do you want to talk a little bit about your perspective on clubs?
Yeah, clubs are my favorite thing to talk about in Baruch because there are so many and you're bound to find something that you're interested in. And if you're not, you have the liberty to create one, which I think is really cool. We have clubs that focus more on community service. So I'm really passionate about community service. So I joined Red Cross in 9th grade, and I've been in it for 4 years. And I applied for vice president in junior year, and I found that when I'm doing college apps, I have so much to write about because of these clubs that I've been in and these experiences that I've had in these clubs. But if you're not into community service, there are clubs that focus more on just like passions and like hobbies. So just recently we created a cooking club, and a sewing club, which is really fun. There's a book club, peer tutoring, a school podcast, a school newspaper. So if you're interested in writing, you can write for the school newspaper. There's a whole website, which is very cool. I'm in Red Cross, Key Club, and NHS, and I found that in these clubs, this is where I've built the most long-term friendships that I've had, and I've connected with upperclassmen in a more casual setting, even more casual than advisory. So I got to build these relationships with these upperclassmen. So when it came time to apply for college, I got to talk to them about their experience, and I got to talk to them about what they did and what they found best to do. Baruch also has a school podcast, which Lucas is a part of, which I think is very cool. Yeah, did I miss anything? I think we're good.
Great. And then next slide, please. Thank you, Maha. So as mentioned, lots of clubs, and some of the clubs we are really intentional about making sure that there's space at Baruch. Identity clubs. So we have pretty much students start them, and then we've maintained them. So from our Black and Latino Student Union, Asian Affinity, we've had a Gender Sexuality Alliance since the school started. And our student government is really a great system at the school where students really can bring concerns and identify where there are needs. So new clubs start every year, and as our school grows, we make sure we have that in place as well. Was anybody else going to say anything else on clubs before we move on?
I was gonna speak on this slide. So like Ms. Press said, and Maha, we have many, many clubs, as you can see, BLSU, GSA, Student Gov, also the media team, which I'm president of. It's essentially like the communications hub of the school. So many of the photos that you've seen on these slides are actually taken by club members. The 411 Press, our newspaper, and you can even start a club. You just have to find a teacher, and it's a great way to get into the community. And also, you can also become a teacher intern. You can help them with their administrative tasks, like copying and organizing their classroom. And like Lila and Lucas mentioned, sports, become a manager, and yeah.
Thank you. Yes, media team is one of my favorite clubs just because I'm the advisor. Okay, but they're all our favorites. No favorites at Baruch. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so we've heard from our students. Thank you so much. Our counselors, assistant principal, our parent coordinator, who many of you have been communicating with about getting set up for this tour and open house. She's been behind the scenes running all the slides and gathering questions. I'm going to wrap us off and talk about admissions. And then we're going to leave some time. We're going to see what questions have come in through the chat, if anybody has them and you want to post them in there now. So Liz is checking the chat. Just send a message to the host and we can gather those. And then we will we'll close out for the evening. So in terms of admissions, Baruch College Campus High School, we are a screen school. So what that means is that so you rank us on your list of 12 schools, just like you would for any school that's not a specialized test school. So there's no test to get into Baruch. And there are no extra requirements to get into Baruch, meaning that we don't require any essays or portfolios or interviews. So the only thing that you need to do as an applicant is just list us on your list in My Schools, in your school's account. in the order that you really want. The DOE does say that, and we feel the same, that because our admissions is only based on your tier, lottery number, and then from there, that's it. We don't see the lottery numbers. That's a question a lot of families have asked us in the past. As a school, we actually have never seen that information. All we know is we get a list at the end of who is getting an offer to the school. We can see what tiers we offer. And last year, and I say it changes from year to year, the kids, and you've heard mention of COVID, I think there's just been a lot of changes in terms of admissions over the years. So it's hard to predict every year what things will look like. But just families like to know, so I like to give you as much information as we can. Last year, we predominantly, most of our seats were in tier 1 or group 1. We did have a few seats in group 2, but majority were group 1. And we did go to the waiting list over the summer for our 9th grade. So if it's something that you're also thinking about, but that was later on, closer to the start of the school year, once we knew who was coming to our school. So again, to apply to Baruch High School, you just put us on the list in the true order of your preference. And we really do hope that you're able to come if it's a school that you love. We have our 9th grade class typically is about 120 students. So we make a few more offers to get to that number, but the goal is about 120. So we are a relatively small program. Liz, next slide. I think we might be done. Let's double check. Next slide, please. Yep. So just some frequently asked questions, and then we'll take questions that are in the chat. Questions often about, we do have off-campus lunch available to our students. We also serve lunch at school. Our class size ranges anywhere from 20 to up to 34, depending on the class. You can see a picture of a class here. It's pretty accurate. That's a recent photo. So, our classes are of average size, I would say. Students move throughout the building. We have 5 floors in our building. We're in an office building. It's a small space. It's kind of like a narrowish footprint. So students move up and down. It's one hallway on each floor. So they do travel throughout the building and they get their exercise. And we start at 8:20 and we end at 2:40, and our after school program goes until about 4 o'clock. So at this point, we finished our presentation. So I think I'll have Ms. Grove just read off any questions from the chat that she's gotten.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. So a few popular questions in the chat are about out lunch, and if we have out lunch at our school, and also the average amount of homework our students have.
Okay, so as I shared, we do have out lunch that starts in 9th grade, as long as parents or guardians give permission for you to go out to lunch. In terms of hours of homework, I think that can vary from student to student. Our students are seniors. I don't know if you're gonna be able to talk to 9th grade, but can you say on average, or if you've talked to freshmen in your advisory, what do you feel like the average homework load is, especially thinking coming from middle school? Any Baruch students can answer that?
So I was one of the freshmen I was talking to recently was telling me she went to Wagner before. She mentioned that it was a little bit more homework compared to middle school. And of course you are in a high school now, so you should be expecting more work, but nothing that isn't manageable. And then again, if the teachers are super supportive, if you ever have anything personal going on that you need an extension for a project or something, the teachers are always willing to work with you.
Yeah, like Lila said, it is a manageable amount of homework, but they are preparing you for college. And I wouldn't say it's that bad. It only it really depends on what classes you're taking, but in 9th grade, I don't think you're taking APs, but once you get into taking APs, it will be a little more, but it is manageable.
And another question about APs, some parents were asking, are there prerequisites to the AP classes?
So we do have a little bit of prerequisites for the AP classes, but our philosophy is really that if a student is interested in challenging themselves, we want to provide them that opportunity. So we do require that students have, I believe it's at least an 85 in the course the year prior. So just in that subject area. So if you love math, for instance, and you're a strong math student and you want to take AP statistics, we would require an 85 in your algebra or geometry course the year prior, but we wouldn't necessarily look at all your other grades. So it's just, that's the only requirement. And then students list which AP courses they want to take. And we tell students that our priority is to guarantee students at least one of the AP courses so that students can have access to as many as possible. If we can open an additional section, we will. So we really do. We have, I think I looked at the number recently, I don't have it in front of me, but a very large percentage of our 11th and 12th graders are in an AP class. Like it's like 3/4 or something. So are in an AP class. So it's been very opportunity for our students. Does any of the students want to talk about the APs from your perspectives? Anyone want to add on? Udesha?
Yeah, so I don't think the APs are that hard even in junior and senior year. Of course, if you take very many of them, and depending on your own personal interest, it can be a bit conflicting. For example, if you're taking an AP just for the sake of taking an AP, it might end up being difficult. But if you are genuinely passionate about a subject, generally, I don't think it's an issue. Like right now, I'm in AP Comparative Government and AP English Literature. These are both subjects I'm interested in. These are both subjects I love. And even during the arduous college process that we just went through, the assignments, the homework, it didn't feel that stressful. So as long as you're taking subjects that you are passionate about and you can do, I think you'd be, pretty well off in those.
Just to add, this year I'm taking 3 APs, including calculus at Baruch College, and last year I took 3 AP courses as well. So it is a lot of work, at least compared to, not taking APs, but I still think it's definitely manageable. I wouldn't have taken 3 APs again this year if it wasn't manageable last year. And I know it keeps getting repeated, but the teachers understand everything. And with the APs, they say that each AP, you're going to expect an hour per AP of homework per night, just going back to homework. And that is, I don't want to say not true, but I've never seen, myself getting 3+ hours of homework every night. There's going to be nights, especially, as a senior, junior, that, might be a little stressful. But since this is school with definitely rigorous coursework, it's to be expected, but it's manageable 98% of the nights. So yeah.
The last thing I would just say, just in terms of homework, I know that's often a big shift from middle school. If you take a look on our website, you can see our school-wide grading policy. Homework is not heavily weighted in our courses. We really try to focus on the larger assessments that show student understanding. So it is a part of the learning, but it's really about reinforcing that we want the majority of the work and the learning that the students are doing happening in school. And then, of course, there's some work they do outside of school. Are there any other big questions? I know we've gotten to a little bit past 7, and I want to be mindful of our time. So, Ms. Grove, are there any other big questions we want to make sure we get?
Just a couple questions about the drama and music at Baruch and what that looks like. Is that elective classes, clubs, and do we have performances?
Yeah, so I'll talk, and then if any students are in any of those, definitely jump in. So we are, as Mr. Kaiser shared earlier, we are primarily, we have visual art, as we're not an arts high school. However, we do offer opportunities, whether it's through clubs. So we have a drama club that does an annual performance the students can take part in every year. We have partnerships with the arts that go into our English classes. So our students performed at the Apollo in a citywide competition the past 2 years for monologue performances, and they come into the classroom and students go out on trips as well. In terms of our music electives, they are just an elective course that's not playing music, but studying music. We had Jazz at Lincoln Center just this past week performed for our students. They came into Baruch and performed for them. So we have some music opportunities, but we do not have a a music program. Any students want to add on if they're in an arts club? I'm not sure if we have any of those folks here. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. We hope this gave you some information to help you as you think about where you're applying to high school. We know it's a big process, and we wish you all the best, and best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you in September. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great night.